Wizards of the Coast just held their Wizards Presents 2022 event, so let me give you my initial impressions. Welcome to Geek Philosophy, where we love geeky wisdom. If you're new to the channel, my name is Brian, and we put out new videos weekly, so subscribe, turn on the notifications, you won't miss out on anything. But today I'm going to focus on all of that information. Actually, most of the information, because there was a lot to unpack in the presentation that Wizards held today. So let me give you a few highlights of what was covered. Full disclaimer though, I have played Magic the Gathering and it's fun. They spent a lot of time on that other major game of theirs, and it would be a disservice for me to really cover that on this channel. There's a bunch of other channels out there that I'm sure are digging in deep to all the brand new information about Magic the Gathering, so I'm going to stick with what I know and just give you my experience with D&D information, and we'll go from there. But yeah, there was a ton of that stuff too. The big announcement was really alluding to, not even really alluding to, just telling you, hey, the next evolution of Dungeons & Dragons is coming, and it's going to be called, codename, One D&D. I think we knew that Wizards was going to go this way. A lot of what we can expect from this edition was really kind of laid out as far as what their goals were. I'm going to go into this in more detail shortly, the whole One D&D thing, but let me give you some highlights about some of the other announcements that were D&D related. It's the 35th anniversary of Drizzt. Hard to believe it's been that long since I read The Crystal Shard. I was like 10 years old when that book came out. Anyway, there's new art for the ebooks and audiobooks in the future, so that's kind of cool. They're also launching a Legend of Drizzt's visual dictionary, which may be pretty cool, and a new webcomic about Drizzt and Canterbury's daughter, Bree. And since I'm not caught up on all the books, she's someone I didn't even know existed, so late spoiler warning, I guess. Sorry, everybody. And the new Spelljammer 3-book campaign collection has also just launched. You can actually go out and get that now. And Dragonlance is back. The Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen, which is a campaign book, and also it's going to be like a digital bundle, so you can see this is also going to be really important moving forward, but it's going to be a digital bundle with the book and the digital product, and it takes place in the War of the Lance. I guess it will be an untold story during the War of the Lance time period. They've also had some sort of board game that they're going to release. I don't really know a whole lot about it, but we'll see how it goes. Also, the D&D starter products are being released in Japan this winter, and they showed a new commercial that will air in Japan to promote the release. It was pretty cool. For the 2023 release announcements, first in the winter of 2023, they're releasing Keys from the Golden Vault, which is an anthology of heist-centered adventures. And I really want to check this one out. I find that running heists can often be a challenge from a DM perspective, so seeing a few of them kind of strung together will give me a better idea of how to handle it within 5th edition, or I guess whatever the next edition is going to be called. Then in the spring comes Bigby Presents Glory of Giants, which is apparently going to cover all things related to giants in the game, so cool. Another release I'm really excited about is the Phandelver campaign coming in the summer of 2023. They're actually expanding the Lost Mine of Phandelver, which was a pretty popular adventure, and they're making that into a full campaign. You know, it was part of the original 2014 starter set that they launched. Then in the fall, they're releasing the Book of Many Things based on the Deck of Many Things. The Deck of Many Things, bringing both joy and despair to gaming tables since 1975. I think this book will likely be similar to Tasha's or Xanathar's Guide, since it was kind of explained as a book with new options for DMs and players. Also in the fall is a new Planescape campaign collection. I have to admit I never played Planescape campaigns, but I thought the concept was really interesting, and I loved all of Tony DiCerlizzi's art, so yeah, I'm kind of excited about this one just to check it out and see what they do with it. Okay, let's get to the big stuff. Let me lead with a couple of quotes from the presentation. D&D has been around for 50 years, and there's very little that persists that long that becomes generational, that people can really just not only share, but literally hand down to their kids. What we want to do is to add to that legacy. And for me, I actually think that building a legacy means reaching players from all walks of life and adding new people to the conversation. So it was also good that they said, we want to continue to reach out to folks who are interested in fantasy, who love storytelling, who enjoy spending their time with friends and creating these collective stories that they can remember for years to come. So as far as opening up the game to more people, they really seem to have a mission to make D&D even more inclusive and inviting to all people that want to play. And I think that's a good thing. It's not just the right thing to do, but it's also actually smart for the company from a business perspective. Since it's a game that is so personal to every player at the table, it should be open and inclusive enough to reflect all of the different types of people playing it, and that leads to better sales for them anyway. So while it's the right thing, it's also good for business. But what about the rules updates? In my opinion, by the way, they've already created the best possible set of rules to fit the expectations of a variety of players and playstyles. That's not to say that it's a perfect rule system and a perfect game. I mean, with 5e, they've done a good job making a bunch of people happy who had different experiences with different editions. And that was a tough thing to do. But the way they did it and the way Wizards pulled it off was by asking for feedback from the community when they were initially developing 5th edition. Before 5th edition was actually even 5th edition, it was called D&D Next. It had a code name, and it relied heavily on playtesting from the feedback from the larger community. Here we are again, new code name, One D&D, and I was proud to be a part of the playtest then, but don't worry, it wasn't like an exclusive thing. It was open to pretty much everyone, and so is the One D&D playtest. Based on what they presented during this announcement, it looks as if they're going to be taking the same approach. They're going to be really looking at the community to help build the next version of D&D. And as of today, August 18th, 2022, you can go to D&D Beyond and sign up for free to be part of the One D&D playtest. And again, coming back to the rules, the way they talk about it is they feel that the existing rule set is pretty solid already. And it seems to be like they're using that as the overall structure for everything moving forward. I'm sure they're going to be tweaking some things, but they made a point to say that adventures and supplements released since 5th edition started almost 10 years ago will still be playable with One D&D. So they're not taking anything away, but instead it looks like they're building on the existing game and providing some more options and maybe shuffling some things around as far as where things are included. But basically, Wizards of the Coast said they were pretty happy with the game's rules the way they are, and I don't blame them. Also, D&D has been making a ton of money, so I didn't really see them making a huge overhaul like what happened between 4th and 5th edition, but I think they're going to build on the experience that they've gained through that time with the launch of D&D Next and then 5th edition. And again, it doesn't mean that they're not going to make adjustments. The playtest is playtest. Anything can change because we need that to happen. We want it to evolve. So if the playtest isn't really incorporating the feedback, then that's going to be the bad thing. So Chris Perkins actually specifically mentioned restructuring the Dungeon Master Guide to make it more useful to beginning DMs. And that's one of the things that is a welcome change to a lot of us that thought it had good information, but it was not as good as getting someone from the ground up ready to play as even the starter set was. Also, since they acquired D&D Beyond, they're announcing something that many of us have been predicting. They're expanding the digital tools. They want to be a one-stop shop. One of the big things that we've all been asking for a long time is bundling physical books and digital copies. So if you buy the bundle, not only do you get the physical book, but you get the digital version on D&D Beyond. Then they mentioned and actually showed an early example of D&D Digital where it was actually a 3D playable space for D&D. So instead of pulling together all the third-party tools and mapping and gaming apps, they're building their own. It actually uses the Unreal Engine to make it look even better than I thought it was going to look. Again, early stages, who knows what it's going to turn out to be, but it had some kind of a custom miniature builder, it looks like, and I wonder what that's going to do for companies like Hero Forge. Oh, actually, it would be amazing if they had some sort of deal where the 3D print versions of minis could be kind of built by, or printed, I guess, really by Hero Forge, and if they had some kind of a partnership, that would be awesome. Also, I don't know what this means for all the third-party virtual tabletop companies out there. Are they going to lose their licenses? Are they going to keep those licenses to give different options? Who knows? As far as the playtest, I just signed up for it, so I haven't had a chance to dig into the materials too deep yet. I'll keep you posted on everything I see as things are released. But I did catch the Unearthed Arcana character origins video that Todd Kennerik and Jeremy Crawford put out, and they did a great job kind of explaining their thoughts about the playtest and this Unearthed Arcana material, and I think it's worth a watch. If you're interested, I'll put a video in the description below. Also, if you're interested in a playtest, head over to D&D Beyond and just sign up. I'll put a link to that as well. I think if you want to be a part of building the next version of this game, then, as they put it, shape what's next. Be a part of the creation of something. I'm pretty optimistic about all of this. I actually feel that expanding things and providing more choices is a great way to build on the success of D&D in recent years that's kind of unparalleled. And if you're watching this and you don't like some of the stuff that they talked about, don't use it at your table. That's the beauty of this, right? You can use what you think you'd like and discard the rest. You can play the way you like without yucking someone else's yum. So thanks for watching my take on the recent One D&D announcement. I found that news about an upcoming change tends to leave people either hopeful or a little cynical. So I'd like to leave you with a little geek philosophy from comedian, actress, and writer Sarah Silverman. The good news is hopeful doesn't mean dumb. The bad news is cynical doesn't mean smart. Cheers.